It was cold. Not winter cold. Just the kind that sinks under your skin and settles in your bones. I stood there middle of the street, people walking past, pretending they didn't hear. But they did. Everyone did. You think you can disappear with my money? The alpha roared. Voice louder than my heartbeat. Louder than the buzzing in my ears. Useless little Omega. You think looking pretty can buy you mercy? My knees trembled. Not from fear, maybe from shame. Or exhaustion. Or because my scent was breaking. Unstable, desperate, bitter at the edges. I could feel it leaking into the air, humiliating me further. I didn't speak. What could I say? I had no answers, no excuses, no money. He stepped closer, too close. His pheromones pressed on mine like a wall, dominant and angry. I flinched, trying to keep my breath steady, trying not to fall, but I already had. People passed by, eyes flicking, heads turning away quickly. No one stopped, except a shadow fell beside me, quiet, unmoving. Rai. He said nothing, just stood between us, like a wall, like silence itself. My creditor paused, sneered. Who the hell are you supposed to be? Still no words from Ray. He didn't look at the alpha. He didn't look at me, just stood. Something shifted. The air around him, his scent. It was faint but sharp, not loud like the alpha's, but it cut through, like cold steel against heat. Not aggressive, not violent, just undeniable. The alpha blinked, stepped back. This doesn't concern you. Rai tilted his head. No emotion, just eyes like glass. Calm, cold. 1 second, then another. The alpha clicked his tongue. Teak. Fine. You want to babysit him? Go ahead. He's not worth the breath. He shoved past us and walked off, muttering. My knees finally gave in. I didn't fall, not fully, just sank halfway, hand on my thigh. Eyes low. My chest heaved once, twice. Ray didn't move. I whispered, barely sound, why? He still didn't look at me. Just turned and walked back toward our building, like it was nothing. Like saving someone was routine. I stayed crouched a little longer. The street suddenly felt louder now that the alpha was gone. People moved again. My scent was a mess. Shame, heat, guilt. All tangled. Back in our shared apartment later, I sat on the edge of my mattress. The room was quiet. I kept replaying it in my head. That moment he appeared. The way his presence shut everything down. Not through yelling. Not through fists. Just be. Rhea was always like that. Quiet. Strange. Always wore long sleeves. Always kept his door locked. Never smiled. Never scowled either. Just a blank wall with a pulse. We never talked much. Lived together for 8 months already. We shared kitchen space, laundry, rent notices, but never real words. So why today? Why me? Why now? I heard his door open. Soft footsteps. Then a pause. I didn't look up, but I knew he stood by the hallway, watching. Or maybe just waiting. Thank you. I mumbled. He didn't reply. Just after a few seconds he spoke. Voice calm. No inflection. You shouldn't owe people like that. I stared at the floor. I didn't choose to. Silence again. Then be careful next time. His scent drifted faintly. Cool mint. Rain on metal. Controlled. Not dominant. Not sweet. Just clean. Mine was still bleeding guilt into the room. I nodded. Small. Quiet. I would. Rie turned away. His door clicked shut. No more words. And yet, I couldn't breathe right. It wasn't the humiliation that haunted me now. It was him. It was raining that night. Not heavy, not storm, just a quiet drizzle against the window. Soft taps like someone knocking slowly, endlessly. I sat on my mattress, blanket around my shoulders, legs curled tight. I hadn't changed clothes since earlier. The scent of that confrontation still clung to my skin. Sharp with fear, bitter from humiliation. I could feel it, how it refused to fade. Everyone else in the apartment was asleep. Except me. And maybe him. I heard his door open. The hallway creaked softly. Then came a knock. 1, 2. Slow. I didn't answer. I just stared at the door. My heartbeat suddenly grew loud. My scent twitched. Unsteady. He opened the door anyway. Didn't wait. Rai stood there, half-shadowed. His white t-shirt was clean, plain, his sleeves rolled halfway up his forearms. Pale skin, faint veins. His hair slightly damp from the shower. Or maybe from standing near the open window again. He always left it open too long. He didn't step in, didn't ask. Just stood there and said it. Marry me. My ears rang. I blinked. Maybe I imagined it. The rain outside was louder now. But his voice still echoed. What? Contract marriage. 6 months. I stared at him. My mouth parted but no sound came. He said nothing more. Just watched. His face was unreadable. Eyes quiet. Not soft. Not hard. Just flat. But I saw something in them. Something not calm. Something cracked. Like thin glass under pressure. My lips moved again. Why? He tilted his head. You need protection. I swallowed. You already helped me. This makes it permanent. I frowned. My scent shifted, confused. Why me? He blinked once, then said simply, because I don't want anyone else to take you. Something in my chest tightened. Not fear, not even warmth, just stillness. Like my breath forgot how to move. I stood slowly, the blanket falling off. My shirt clung damp at the back from cold sweat. The room was dim, just the hallway light spilling in behind him. Enough to see the way his jaw clenched slightly. Enough to see how his hands were fisted tight by his sides. This isn't a joke? I asked, voice small. He stepped forward, one slow step. His scent rolled in, clean, controlled, almost scentless, but not empty. There was something sharp beneath it, like burnt sugar. I don't joke, he said. I looked down. You don't even talk. Another pause. Talking's not needed to see someone drowning. I felt that deep. I didn't say yes. I didn't say no. I just stood there frozen, my throat dry, my mind blank, my scent, a low thrum of storm. Ray stepped closer, close enough that I felt the heat of him, close enough that if I reached out I'd touch him. But I didn't. He took a folded paper from his back pocket, set it on the edge of my desk. Read. Think. Sign if you want. Then he turned, walked away. No explanation. No emotion. Just left the door open behind him. I stared at that paper for a long time. Maybe hours. My fingers finally moved. I picked it up, typed, printed, read. Clause 1, 6 months. Clause 2, no physical contact required. Clause 3, no emotional responsibility. Clause 4, mutual agreement of annulment after term. Clause 5, legal bond, public announcement, shared residence. His signature was already there. Neat. Sharp strokes. I traced it with my finger. I didn't know what was happening. But I also knew no one else ever stood between me and pain the way he did. I didn't sign. Not yet. But I folded the paper and slid it under my pillow. And that night, for the first time in weeks, I slept. Sort of. Next morning light felt strange. Pale and too quiet, like the air itself was holding breath. I sat on the edge of the dining table, pen in my fingers, paper in front of me, legal words, clean font, sharp language. 6 months, it said. No physical claim, it said. No romantic obligation, it promised. But everything in my chest felt like breaking rules already. He sat across from me. Ray. Elbows on the table, hands folded, eyes on me, not the paper. Never the paper. My fingers trembled slightly as I signed my name. It didn't feel real. He reached out, turned the document around slowly, and signed his part. Smooth strokes. Confident. No hesitation. You okay? He asked. I nodded. Lot. He took the paper and stood. I'll file it today. His scent brushed past me as he walked away. I didn't know if it was intentional. Maybe not. Maybe yes. It was clean still. But something was changing. Warmer now. A little heavier near me. I stayed seated even after he left. My hand stayed over my name on the paper as if covering it could make it less binding. The word married echoed in my mind like a joke I wasn't laughing at. Afternoon came slow. We didn't talk much. We didn't need to. The contract made us something new now. Not roommates. Not lovers. Not strangers. Something in between. He brought new sets of keys. Yours now? He said, handing me one. Our fingers brushed. Mine pulled back fast. His didn't move. He cooked dinner. Didn't ask if I was hungry, just placed a plate in front of me. I stared at the steam rising. Ate quietly. His eyes watched me from across the table. Not intense. Just constant. Like checking. How's your scent today? He asked suddenly. My chopsticks paused mid-air. Why do you care? He looked down. You're mine now. On paper. That word mine. It clung to my skin longer than his scent did. I went to my room early. Closed the door. Pressed my back against it. What had I done? Night stretched heavy. I couldn't sleep. My scent kept shifting, nervous, lost, hollow. I was aware of it in the air. Aware of how close Rye's room was. I got up. Quiet steps. Walked to the kitchen for water, and he was there. Already standing in the dark. By the window, one hand holding a cup. He turned when I entered. No surprise on his face. I heard you, he said. I wasn't loud. I listened anyway. His words, they always felt like something more. I moved to the sink, poured water, tried not to look at him, but I could feel him looking. You're tense, he said. I drank slowly. No, I'm not. You are. I turned. Do you want to monitor everything now? My scent, my sleep, my steps. He didn't blink. If it keeps you safe. Yes. I scoffed. Placed the glass down. My scent flared. Bitter, sarcastic. His scent shifted too. Suddenly stronger, thicker. Like warning cloud. Calm but powerful. We stared at each other. Then he stepped closer. Slowly. I won't touch you, he said. I promised. But you still act like you own me. I whispered. His eyes dropped to my throat, the spot where my gland pulsed under skin. His jaw tensed. I didn't marry you to own you, he said, voice lower now. I married you because I couldn't bear watching anyone else hurt you. I froze. Something inside me pulled tight. He stepped back. Good night, then walked away. But the air didn't move. It stayed around me thick with scent and unspoken things. And I realized, this marriage may be paper, but the chain around my heart had already formed. I woke up to silence. Not the peaceful kind. The kind that presses on your chest before you even open your eyes. My room looked the same, but something was different. The air, the drawer, the clothes inside. I sat up slowly, heart already uneasy, and opened it. Everything was gone. No, not gone. Replaced. New shirts, neatly folded, all soft fabric, muted colors, no rips, no worn collars, no scent of who I used to be. My old clothes, the ones I wore when I begged for rent, when I got shoved by alphas in back alleys, all vanished. I stood there too long. My fingers trembled on a sleeve. I brought it to my nose. No scent. Washed too clean. My door clicked. He didn't knock. Didn't ask. Just entered. As if it was his right now. Ray. He saw me holding the shirt. He didn't explain. Just said they fit your temperature better. And the fabric won't irritate your glands. My throat dried. Where are my clothes? I disposed them. My scent flared. Sharp confusion. Hints of heat. My skin prickled. You had no right. His face didn't move. They were harming you. I almost threw the shirt on the floor. But I didn't. Because I knew. He wasn't wrong. Still, I hated how calmly he said it. Like I belonged under maintenance. Like I was something broken he could adjust. Later that morning, I opened the fridge. Color-coded containers. Balanced meals. Dates labeled. Everything. Control. My favorite instant noodles? Gone. His voice behind me. You need nutrients. I didn't turn. Just stood still. You're not my doctor, I muttered. No, he said. I'm your husband. My spine stiffened. Paper husband. Contracted name. But he wore it like it meant something. He moved close. Not touching, but close enough that his presence made my breath catch. His scent surrounded me gently. Mint and dusk. Always clean, always measured. But now, warmer. Heavier. I said I'll protect you, he whispered. Let me. That night, he handed me a schedule. Printed. Time. Wake up at 7. Supplements after breakfast. Breath therapy at 3 p.m. Omega scent regulation oils before sleep. I stared at the paper. You think I'm a pet? No, he said. I think you're a system that needs peace. His eyes stayed on me, cold and careful, but something inside them almost trembled. I didn't speak, just turned away. But I followed the schedule. I don't know why. Maybe because I forgot how to disobey someone who never raised his voice. The days blurred. He cooked. He watched. Every time I stood too long, he placed a chair behind me. Every time my fingers shook, he handed me warm water. Every time my scent dipped low, he adjusted the humidifier. He never touched, but his presence was everywhere. I couldn't breathe without him knowing how deeply. One evening, I caught him watching me. I wasn't doing anything special, just reading, on the couch. His gaze, it wasn't distant anymore. It was quiet hunger, not for body, for belonging. He blinked when I met his eyes, but didn't look away. I'm not yours, I said, voice barely a breath. He stepped forward. No, he answered, but you feel like mine. My scent spiked, confused, raw, and his flared too warm, protective, dangerously close to possessive. But he didn't come closer. He left the room, and I sat there with my heartbeat loud and my chest aching. Because I didn't know if I wanted to run or stay. Something had changed. I didn't know when. Maybe it was the way his fingers lingered now just a second longer than needed. Or the way his eyes never moved from me, even in silence. Especially in silence. He never touched unnecessarily. Ray wasn't like that. But lately, a hand to straighten my collar. A thumb brushing something from my cheek. Fingers grazing my wrist when handing me a cup. Each time it felt harmless. Gentle. Calm. But my body, my gland, it responded like a flare had been lit beneath skin. A heat. A throb. A pull I couldn't stop. I tried not to react. I tried to breathe through it. But pheromones don't lie. And Rai never missed anything. Your scent's off, he said one morning. I was cutting fruit. My hand froze. Off how? He didn't move closer, just leaned on the counter, arms crossed. Like it's searching for something. My chest clenched. It's not. You sure? I'm fine. He didn't argue, just stared. Quietly, intently, like reading pages I hadn't written. I avoided him after that. Or tried. But we lived in the same space. Ate at the same table. Slept down the same hallway. Even when he wasn't near, I felt him. One evening, I reached up to grab a mug from the top shelf. My shirt lifted slightly. I felt his presence behind me before I saw him. His voice low. You should ask for help. I'm not fragile. I said, hand still on the mug. No. But you're mine. I froze. My fingers tightened. The ceramic clinked. You can't say that, I whispered. But I did. I turned slowly, mug in hand. His eyes were calm, but not empty. Never empty. You don't mean it, I said. I do. My heart pounded. My scent spiked, confused, hot, messy. I knew he felt it. He always felt it. He stepped forward. Slowly, not close enough to touch, but enough to let his pheromones wrap around mine. You keep reacting, he said. Even when you pretend not to. I'm not pretending. You're burning. I looked down, then stopped lighting the match. He didn't reply, just reached out, 2 fingers under my chin. Lifted. Gently. Eyes met. Silence stretched. I was the first to pull away. I placed the mug down with shaking hands. Walked past him without a word. But I knew he watched. And I hated how my body ached to turn back. At night my dreams changed. Not memories, just feelings. Weight against my back. Heat across my skin. Fingers brushing over gland. Lips not touching, just hovering. I woke up gasping. Every morning. And every morning I'd find him already awake. In the kitchen. Preparing tea. His scent faint but always around me like a second skin. You didn't sleep well, he said once. I'm fine. You're not. Don't say it like you know me. I do, he replied. I listen to your breathing every night. I went still. I hear it through the wall. You hold it in when you're afraid of your dreams. I didn't answer, because he was right. Because his voice was the only one that made my lungs feel heavier, not lighter. That afternoon, I caught my reflection in the mirror. My cheeks had more color. My skin looked less tired. Because of his meals. His schedule. his control. My body was healing. But my heart, it was slipping. And every small touch, every fixed collar, every light brush of his knuckles when passing things, burned more than the last. That evening I leaned on the balcony. Night wind cool against my face. He joined me, quietly. No words. Just stood beside me. After a long silence he said, "Your scent, it's different now. Better?" I asked. He turned slightly. "No. It's longing." I looked away. "Maybe I miss who I used to be." "No," he said. "You miss being wanted." I swallowed. "Then do you want me, Ray?" His voice dropped. Low. "Certain. More than I should." The wind moved. Our scents mixed. And for the first time I didn't pull away. It happened on a Thursday night. The air too dry. My glands too tense. I hadn't eaten well that day. Skipped the afternoon supplement. Forgot to drink water. Again. My fault. I thought I could handle it. But something inside me was cracking. My scent started to twist. Not sour. Not sweet. Just wrong. Sharp at the edges. My head spun. My body too hot, too cold, too heavy. I stood by the kitchen sink, trying to reach the glass shelf. My fingers missed. It fell. Shattered on the floor. My legs followed. My knees hit tile. Then everything blurred. The last thing I remember was my own scent. Chaotic, spiraling, and then his. Cool. Strong. Safe. Ray. I woke up pressed against something warm. Firm. A steady heartbeat under my cheek. Arms around my back. I didn't open my eyes right away, because it felt too safe. And I hadn't felt safe in years. His scent was everywhere. Not faint this time. Not restrained. It was him, fully calm, mint layered with warm pine and something darker beneath. Like quiet possession. My gland pulsed. My body responded, uninvited. I curled closer, breath shallow. I felt it, the center of my heat cycle catching on his frequency. My omega instincts stretching open. "You're awake." His voice low. Not soft. Not sharp. Just there. I opened my eyes, slowly. Dim lights. I was on the couch, a blanket over us. My head on his chest. I didn't move. I couldn't. He didn't either. "How long?" I whispered. 3 hours. "You held me all this time?" "Yes." "Why?" "Because you were breaking." I swallowed. My throat dry. "You could have just called someone." "I'm someone." The words sank deep. I shifted just slightly. My hand landed over his shirt. I felt his breath hitch. "You shouldn't have touched me," I whispered. "Not like this." "You were crashing." I looked up at him. His eyes. They weren't cold. They weren't blank. They were full. Heavy. My scent flared again. This time softer. Exposed. "I felt it," I said. "My gland," it responded. "I know." "You did you?" He nodded. I held back. My cheeks burned. "You shouldn't have to." His fingers moved then. Just slightly. They brushed the back of my neck. Not near the gland. Not quite. But enough. I shivered. "I've never touched you without reason," he said. "I know. But I think I wanted a reason." I looked down. My voice cracked. "Was tonight a reason?" He didn't answer. He just pulled me closer. And my body, instead of resisting, melted. For the first time, the paper between us didn't exist. For the first time, I felt like I wasn't pretending. I wasn't his contract. I was his mate. And I didn't want to run. I just wanted to stay. I tried to run. Not physically, just emotionally, mentally. I started texting people I hadn't spoken to in weeks. Friends I used to know before I became someone else's contract. I smiled at messages I didn't mean. Laughed too loud during video calls. Agreed to meet up for coffee even though my body didn't want to leave his scent. But I went anyway. Wore clothes that didn't smell like him. Ate food that wasn't cooked by him. Sat in spaces that weren't wrapped in his stillness. And the whole time, I could feel him. Not in scent. Not in touch. But in absence. He wasn't there. And somehow that felt louder than when I came back that first evening, the apartment lights were dim. The hallway empty, the kitchen untouched, but his door opened just slightly. He didn't ask where I'd been. Didn't look at me, just existed. And it hurt more than anger would have. The next night I left again. Another gathering. Another attempt at pretending. Another smile that didn't reach my eyes. But this time, I saw him, across the street, leaning against a post, head low, hands in his coat pockets. He didn't follow, didn't speak, just watched. I didn't say anything when I returned. He didn't ask, but his scent was heavier that night, like rain soaked into concrete. Third time I stayed out longer, deliberately, wanted him to care, wanted him to say something. I came home late. The living room was dark, but I found him in the kitchen, sitting silently, hands resting on the table. He looked up, eyes blank, but I could see the weight there, the kind he never let fall. "I'm not leaving you," I said suddenly, without meaning to. "I just need space." His voice was low. "I know, but you follow me." He didn't deny it. "I'm not watching you," he said. "I'm guarding you." I laughed softly, bitter. Same thing. He looked at me then properly. "No, watching is selfish. Guarding is instinct." I went silent, because I knew what he meant. I tried again to push away, talked louder on the phone, laughed when he was near, but he never flinched. He cooked for me, kept the lights on, turned the heater down when I overheated, never touched, never asked, but never left. That one evening, I don't even remember why, I broke. Maybe it was the silence. Maybe the fake smiles. Maybe the scent of someone else's perfume still lingering on my wrist. I came home, dropped my keys and cried. Right there, on the floor. My scent turned sharp, bitter and salty and aching. I couldn't stop it. My shoulders shook, my voice cracked. I didn't want him to see, but he did. He came close, quietly, like always. He sat beside me, didn't touch me, his scent was warm, steady, like anchor in storm. I didn't lift my head, just whispered, "Why do you still stay?" His answer came slow, from the chest, not the throat. "I'm not saving you from debt anymore." My breath hitched. "I'm saving you from everything else," he said. "The world, the noise, yourself." I turned to him, tears on my face. "And who's saving you?" He didn't answer, because maybe he didn't think he deserved it, and that made me cry harder. Not for me, but for him. It started with a drawer. I wasn't searching, not really. I just needed scissors. That's what I told myself. His room was empty, door slightly open. He had gone out. I don't even remember where. I told myself I wouldn't touch anything personal, just the top drawer. Just for a second. But the papers were neat. Too neat. Labeled. Aligned. Everything folded with intention. And in between them, something slid out. A thin document. A copy slightly yellow at the edges. Medical. Cold font. Unemotional ink. Death certificate. Name Mina Eshiro. Designation Omega. May. Cause cardiac arrest induced by scent collapse. My fingers stopped shaking. They just froze. The silence around me roared. I read the dates. 2 years ago. The document slipped from my grip, landed softly on his desk. My eyes stayed there, but my mind, everything clicked at once. The way he watched me, the way he never touched, the way he held control like it was life or death. The contract, the rules, the boundary, the obsession disguised as kindness. He had done this before, and lost it. I sat on the floor, my back against the side of his bed, the paper still open beside me. I thought I would feel betrayed, but I didn't. I felt chosen, not as charity, not as convenience, chosen because something inside me reminded him of her, or maybe something in him was still trying to save what he couldn't back then. The door creaked open. I didn't look up. I didn't have to. His scent entered first. Heavy, sharp, immediately aware something was wrong. I heard his footsteps stop. Silence stretched. Then, soft. "You opened it." I nodded, not trusting my voice. More silence. "I wasn't hiding it," he said. "You never mentioned her. There was no place to mention her. She was your mate." His voice lowered. "Yes." I finally looked up. He stood near the door, hands at his sides. Stiff. Still. His eyes, they weren't cold. Just far away. "I failed her," he said. "She crashed in heat. I wasn't there. I thought I had time. I thought she was strong." His throat moved. I found her too late. Her scent had already collapsed. The ache in my chest spread, slow and wide. I thought, he continued, I'd never try again. Never bond. Never hold. Never feel that kind of fear again. Then why me? I whispered. He took one step forward, then another. You were breaking, he said. But you still looked up. My eyes burned. You didn't ask to be saved. But something in you still wanted to be seen. I stared at him. So I'm her replacement? No. Then what am I? His voice didn't shake. You're my second chance to protect someone before they die in front of me. My breath hitched. And maybe, he added, I'm hoping you'll give me a reason to want to live again too. I stood up slowly. Between us was only air. No paper. No contract. Just memory. And scent. And ache. I stepped closer. You don't have to protect me from dying, I said. Just stay, so I remember how to live. His eyes finally cracked open. Not broken. Not cold. Just human. And when his hand finally reached for mine, I didn't pull away. I broke that night. It wasn't loud. Not like glass smashing. It wasn't sudden. Just slow, cracking at the corners of my chest until I couldn't breathe without bleeding. Rai had left the window open again. Cold air seeped into the room. The kind that clings to skin and memory. I hated that I'd gotten used to his scent filling this space. Faint mint, silent warmth, and now even that felt heavy. I stood by the table, fingers clenched tight. My throat burned. He walked in. Calm. Always calm. He held a cup of tea for me. Like he always did. As if everything was normal. I looked at him. My chest full of everything I hadn't said. And I said it. You chained me. His body paused. His steps stopped midair. I thought you saved me, I continued, voice rising, cracking, shaking. But you didn't. You trapped me. You dressed it like safety, control, care. But it's a. He didn't speak, didn't flinch, just lowered the cup onto the table. My scent spiked, sharp, unstable, fear tangled with grief. My gland throbbed under my skin like a wound. He looked up slowly. His eyes didn't have anger, just guilt. I never wanted to chain you, he said, quiet. I laughed, bitter. Then why does it feel like I can't breathe unless you let me? He took one slow breath. Because I held on too tight. I turned away. My shoulders trembled. I was broken before I met you, I whispered. But now I don't know who I am without you. And that's worse. He stepped forward. I felt it. The shift in the air. His scent reached me warmer now. Almost desperate. I turned to him, angry tears burning my eyes. You said it was a contract. You said it had no weight. But you made it heavy. I lied, he said. I stared. I didn't want it to be empty, he said. I wanted it to mean something. My lips parted but no words came. I told myself I could protect you without touching, he continued. That I could stay beside you without needing more. But I lied to myself. Every day, every breath. He stepped closer. I backed away. Don't, I whispered. Don't make this harder. I can't undo what I did, he said. But I can tell you the truth now. Silence. Then his voice broke. When I look at you, I don't see an Omega I saved. His voice cracked. I see the only person who made me want to be alive again. My chest collapsed. His shoulders shook once. Then again, and when I looked up, he was crying. Silently. No sound. Tears slid down his face like they didn't ask permission. I didn't chain you, he whispered, voice trembling. I committed to you, because I didn't know how else to say please don't leave. My breath hitched. If you go, he said, I'll break too. And in that moment, the chain around my heart didn't feel like a prison. It felt like a lifeline. And I didn't want to let go. The date circled on the calendar felt unreal. 6 months. Exactly. 6 months since I signed that contract with a hand that didn't know where it was going. With a name that didn't feel like it belonged to anyone. With a bond that felt like survival, not love. And now, I stood in front of him again. Same table, same hands, same paper, but everything inside me was different. His hands trembled slightly. He held the dissolution form like it burned his skin. His scent was tight, contained like always, but this time, fraying at the edges. I didn't speak. I waited. He looked up, his eyes wouldn't meet mine. You said 6 months, he murmured. They're over. I nodded. They are. His throat moved. Then you're free. That word, free. It should have tasted sweet. But it felt bitter. Empty. I reached out, took the paper from his fingers. Our hands brushed. He flinched, like letting go meant something more than just a contract. I unfolded it slowly. The pen waited beside it. I could hear my own heartbeat, but I didn't sign. Instead, I whispered, "You're shaking." He stayed silent. I thought you'd be relieved. He finally looked at me, and in his eyes, I saw it. The desperation he never let out. The breaking he never let show. I don't want to let you go, he said. My chest pulled tight. Then why did you draw a line between us? His breath caught. Because I was afraid if I didn't, I'd cross it. My fingers trembled now. I hated that paper, I said. Every night I read those clauses. Every line reminded me I wasn't yours. You were, he said. Even if the paper said otherwise. Then why didn't you tear it before today? His voice cracked. Because I didn't know if you'd want to stay without it. My scent shifted. Slow. Deep. Warm. I stepped closer. Close enough that I could hear his breath. I don't want a contract anymore, I whispered. He looked at me like the floor was disappearing. I lifted the pen. He flinched again. But instead of signing the end, I turned the paper over and wrote 2 words. I stay. No terms. No conditions. No expiration. I placed the pen down. My fingers touched his wrist. The first time I reached for him. Not because I was falling, but because I wanted to. He looked down at my hand. His shoulders shook, just slightly. I thought I was only protecting you, he whispered. But I was just trying not to lose you. You did protect me, I said. But now, I want to protect us. He reached for me then. Not in hesitation, not in fear, but in belonging. His arms wrapped around me. But it didn't feel like a chain. It felt like home. And I let myself fall. Not into a contract, not into fear, but into him. Real. Finally real.